The release of GTA 6 pre-orders out and all the pricing being announced for what it is, there is a really good show on what pricing for video games is not going to be for the next few years, I'm thinking. But what's fascinating is that we've seen a dip in the 2K stock right after the pre-orders were announced because of how the expectations were from investors for how the pricing would be. Now still $80 just for a AAA game nowadays is still a very high asking price for things, but we've seen in the past few years the rising of those prices just because of how the expectations from investors on how much money they gain back from their investments into video games are. We could talk about how isn't just the video game industry. We've seen it across the board in every single industry ever, but that's not the discussion we're going to have. With the dip in stock, it shows us how the investors are expecting a higher price tag on the game just for its base version, which really shows just how greedy they've gotten with this. Because 2K has spent over $1 billion on this game at this point, and the investors are expecting a return on investment that is just outblown what the actual price would be. But across the board in the future of AAA video games, we're going to see an $80 price tag as the minimum nowadays, which is very sad for us to see because the past few years it's just exponentially grown in the price tag for these kinds of games, which is like very, very disappointing for a lot of gamers, especially me, because I like video games. That's why I'm posting stuff on here. So it's really disappointing to see. Also, with the $100 upgraded edition, locking certain aspects of the game behind a price tag is really gonna have that be an industry-wide thing now, which is very disappointing because they've already developed that part of the game, but they're just putting it behind a price tag. It's nothing extra. They've already have that stuff in the game, because I bet you can just visit those places in the game, but if you just have the base version, but you can't do anything with them. So why not give that to the player that actually bought the game and have the upgrade stuff be more cosmetic or be more off to the side? It doesn't have to be anything big. With this price tag, it's going to give an excuse to other AAA companies developing games to have that $80 mark, even though they spent less money on the game and spent less time working on this kind of game, because GTA 6 has been in development for probably more than a decade, and it's just going to show other developers, oh, we can make it this price and not give as much of an effort to that game as they did with GTA. And it makes me really glad for the indie side of gaming development right now, because it's such a big thing nowadays that is showing people that you don't have to have a ton of money to make a good video game. It's showing the man that we can do what they can do.